years back, the CBSE has deleted one chapter which was there in our syllabus, that is reproduction in organisms. So for this year, there is only 3 chapters which is coming under the unit reproduction. The first chapter has been deleted from your portion. So this will be the first chapter for you, which we are going to understand today. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So as this chapter is saying, it means we are going to talk about how the plants, they are going to show the sexual reproduction. See, we know like animals, they are undergoing the process of sexual reproduction, but that case, it's seen in case of plants also. Yes. So sexual reproduction is taking place in plant also. So what is the structure where the sexual reproduction is taking place? That structure, it is called as flower. So flower is the part where we'll see the sexual reproduction is taking place in case of plants. So how you will define flower? Flower, it is called as modified shoot. Okay. So flower is called as modified shoot. So you must be knowing in your previous class like what do you mean by flower and what are the structure of flowers are present. So today we are going to understand these things in detail. Okay. So flower, if we will talk about, let me draw a diagram of a flower. So we can see I am starting this diagram with a stalk-like structure. See this stalk-like structure, the flower is attached to the stem with a stalk-like structure. This stalk-like structure, it is called as pedicel. Okay. Now it means the flower is getting attached with the stem with the help of pedicel. Now we can see here the structure which is like cup shape. This cup shaped structure which is present over here, it is called as receptacle, or we can say thalamus. After receptacle, we can see here the green color structure. This green color structure, it is called as calyx. Okay. Now after that we will see corolla. Okay. So what are corolla? Corolla are like leaf-like structure. Okay. So we will be discussing all the parts one by one. So first I said about calyx. So the first rule of this is called as the first rule of flower. First rule of flower. Now this calyx which is coming as a first rule of flower, it consists of units, and the single unit of calyx, it is called as sepal. So how you will understand sepal? Suppose, have you seen a flower in bud stage? If you will talk about rose flower, have you seen rose flower in bud state? It is covered by green leafy structure all around, and that green color covering which is protecting the inner parts of flower, it is called as sepal. Okay. Now what is the next part after calyx? The next rule after calyx, it is called as corolla. We can see here. So what is the corolla here? These colored parts of the flower, they are called as corolla. So these are corolla. Now what we'll call it as single unit of corolla, what it is called as? They are called as petal. Now petals are the things which are present in the flower. Because of that, flowers look beautiful and attractive, and they used to attract insects for the process of pollination. So who is adding beauty to the flower? It is actually the corolla part, which is colorful part of the flower. Now the third structure which we are going to talk about, or the third rule, is called as androssium. Androssium. You can see here the next structure after corolla, it is the androecium. Androecium, it is also called as male reproductive organ or male reproductive structure, which is called as male reproductive organ or structure. Okay. Now, androecium again, it's having unit. See here, this is also androecium, this is also androecium. So, what we call as a single unit of androecium? Single unit of androecium is called as stamen. Okay. So, I am writing here stamen. Stamen is a single unit of androecium, and this stamen consists of 3 structures. So, later we will talk about. First, let us have a look for the structures of flower. Okay. Now, the next structure after androecium, it is gynoecium. Gynoecium is actually the female reproductive structure or organ. So, this is androecium, it is the female reproductive organ of the flower which is present in the center. We can see here like this. So, this is the gynoecium. Okay. So, further part of gynoecium we will talk about one by one. So, gynoecium is the female reproductive structure, and each unit of gynoecium is called as carpel or pistil. Carpel or pistil. Okay. So, let us get an overview of these things. What I said, flower consists of 4 whorls. The first whorl, it is called as calyx. Calyx consists of units which is called as sepals, and these are basically green in structure which used to cover the flower in bud stage. Now, the next whorl after calyx, it is called as corolla, and the single unit of corolla, it is called as petal, and these corolla and petals, they are beautiful and they are colorful parts of the flower. The next unit after corolla is androecium. Androecium, it is called as male reproductive organ or structure, and the single unit of androecium, it is called as stamen. Now, gynoecium, you can see here in the center of the flower, it is the gynoecium which is called as a female reproductive structure, and the single unit of gynoecium, it is called as carpel or pistil. So, one by one we will discuss about the structure of carpel and pistil, as well as we will discuss about stamen. Here we should understand this, that calyx and corolla, they do not involve in the process of reproduction, but this calyx and corolla, it is just to attract the insects and to provide protection to the flowers, and that is why calyx and corolla, they are called as accessory whorls. Accessory whorls, it means they do not participate in the process of reproduction. It means they do not play any role in the process of reproduction. Now, the next structure, next to structure, androecium and gynoecium, they are directly involved in the process of reproduction, and that is why these 2 structures, they are called as essential whorls. They are called as essential whorls. So, from the name itself you can understand why they are called as essential whorls and why they are called as accessory whorls. Accessory whorls, they do not play any role in the process of reproduction, and here in case of plant reproduction, these 2 parts play important role. Okay. Now, one more important thing is there which we should know. In some flower, if we will talk about, there is the petal and the sepal part, or we can say the calyx and corolla, they are not differentiated It means if we will see the structure of flower, we are not able to understand which is calyx and which is corolla. Okay? So, in that case, in such flower, the one unit is present that is called as perianth. So, perianth is a condition where calyx and corolla is not differentiated. Calyx and corolla are not differentiated. See, if differentiation is present, it means we are able to easily identify which is the calyx part and which is the corolla part. But in some flowers, we will see only the androsium part and gynoscium part. And outside this androsium and gynoscium, there will be presence of only one thing or one part, which is called as the perianth part, because it is not differentiated, which is calyx and corolla, and which is called as perianth. And the single unit of perianth, it is called as tepal. Okay. Tepal, it is the unit of perianth. And what do you mean by perianth? Perianth is the structure where calyx and corolla is not differentiated.